Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you my Good Luck Charlie review. Um, I haven't really done this in about a month. The last time I did one of these was when I was in Florida. I will try to do more of these. It's just I have a lot of other things that I have going on right now, so it's tough to find time to do all these videos. So I'll try to do more Good Luck Charlie reviews because it's not on anymore, but it's actually a really good show. Because I enjoyed it when it was actually on, and I wish I could have been. I was making YouTube videos at the time when I was doing when the show was on, at least fully. Um, so this episode is season 1, episode 4. It's called Double Whammy, and you're gonna find out why as I explain it. And originally, I don't think this is when it actually came out, like in the USA, but it actually came out on April 25th, 2010. Um, and this episode was awesome. So the episode starts off. Teddy is making a video diary for Charlie, talking about how she's gonna have her first steps today, and this is her biggest milestone since her first solid poop. She actually does say that. It was really weird but funny. Um, and Ivy even says "ew," and Teddy says that they can't. Says that she didn't get it on video, so then she's like, "We're best friends again." So then she says every time I try to get footage of it, nothing happens, and she actually tries, and she's like, it was the same thing with the poop, and then it cuts to the theme song. So it wasn't anything special. I thought it was fine for an opening. It kind of set the tone for the episode. So then the next scene that happens is Amy, Teddy's mom, is watching some old uh, videos, that home videos that she made of herself. And when she says that, Ivy says, wow, you guys sure love to videotape yourself," which is true. So then Amy says that t- says that she was Whammy in South High, and when she says that, um, well, actually, she doesn't say that, but she says like this was back in her days at South High, and Ivy says, "Wow, Mrs. Um, D, you went to our school," and Miss and Amy says, "No, you're going to my school." That was a really good line, and we find out she used to be Whammy. It's um, they at first you think it's a sheep, but it's actually a wham, and it becomes like a joke because Ivy keeps saying that it's a wham, and Amy's like, again, it's a wham. It has horns. Um, and I thought that was really funny. And I was even thinking to myself when this happens, um, like, can't sheep have horns? And Ivy actually does look it up online and says sheep can have horns because I think they does because my sister does stuff with sheep, and I've seen some sheep with horns, so I think they can have horns. But I'm gonna have to ask that and let you guys know in a future video. Probably not. I probably will forget, but I'll try. Um, and Teddy sarcastically says that it looks like a lot of fun. So Amy obviously thinks that she's legit, and Amy says that well, if you really think it's so fun, that they have Whammy tryouts in school this week, and Teddy's like, "Why would you try out twice?" And Amy says, um, "You don't have to try." No, Amy says, "No, I want you to try out." So then Teddy doesn't like want to, but she's like, "That's a pretty big decision." And Amy says, "I know it's a big decision. It's your decision, and you don't have to do this for me." And Teddy's like, "Really?" And then she says, "You do it for us." And then she hugs her, and then Teddy says to Ivy, "Help me," but she doesn't actually say it. She's like that. Um, then the next scene, Amy's still watching the videotapes, and Teddy kind of is gone. And she even says to Teddy, "Teddy, where you are you? We were missing all the good poets." And Amy says, "Well, who am I kidding? They're all good poets." And then she says, "Except for this poet." And they had where they are. I forget where they are. But they have like um a North High school and a South High school. If you been to Plymouth here, it's the same thing. They have Plymouth North and Plymouth South, and because Plymouth's such a big, what's it called, town. So I think that's the same. I think that's probably the same thing there. And they're like in a feud with each other, and they have another mascot. I think it's a Viking, but I'm gonna look it up. I think what do they call it? Okay, so it's called. I'm trying to look it up. A Viking. Yeah, it's called a Viking. It's like their mascot, and it shows the clip of when Amy was assaulted by the Viking. It took. I think it's called. It took its axe, and hit Amy right in the back. It wasn't a real axe, obviously. It was like a prop, but hit Amy right in the back of the knee and just destroyed Amy. I thought that was pretty funny and actually pretty cool. And then we see somebody that looks like PJ, because he was there. PJ and Gabe were there, and Bob was there, and they point him out. And I think it actually was PJ like playing this guy, but it was actually Bob when he was younger, like PJ's age. And PJ's like, wait a minute, so that was you when you were younger? And he's like, yeah. So he's like, so I'm gonna look like you when I get old, because he's all bald now and stuff. And then Bob says, oh, I stopped looking like that when I was 25. And he's like, and PJ's like, but that's 8 years from now. And Bob says, enjoy it while you got it. And Gabe says, if I were you, I'd marry young. So then Bob goes to the kitchen, and Teddy's actually been hiding in there because she doesn't want to watch these clips. And Teddy tells Bob that Amy wants Teddy to try out, and Bob says, I knew this day was coming. So Teddy wants Bob to talk to Amy and out of it, to tell her that she doesn't want to try out. And then Bob says, well, the next thing you want me to say is her favorite pants make her look fat. And then Amy walks in thinking, and she's like, who looks fat? Because I guess she heard it, but she didn't hear the person. And Bob says, my mother. I thought that was a really funny line. So then next, PJ and Emmett perform with their band, and they actually stop at the same time, and they normally don't do that, and PJ actually comments about that, and Emmett says, well, I dropped my stick. So then PJ's talking about how cute Charlie is watching them, and Emmett just says, she's okay. And PJ gets offensive about that, so he's like, what's that supposed to mean? And Emmett says, you guys are always going off about how cute Charlie is. Now, if you want to see a baby, there's Mason. And PJ's like, why don't you name some things that is cute about him? And he said, and Emmett says, well, he's awesome at peekaboo. And then PJ says, Charlie can play peekaboo with her eyes closed. And Emmett says, that's how you play peekaboo. Thought that was a good line. And he says that they both talk about how their siblings are fast crawlers, so they challenge each other to a crawling race. And Emmett even said that Mason always goes to sleep with a rabbit, and not a stuffed animal rabbit, one that he caught. I thought that was a really good, cool line, but really weird at the same time. I don't even know how he could even do that anyways. I think what I'm thinking is, like, is it dead or something? I don't even know. But, so they challenge each other to the race, and that was that. I thought this was a pretty good scene, and PJ even says, you better get used to looking at Charlie's pretty much ass, because that's what you better get used to looking at that, because that's what Mason's gonna be looking at. And Emmett says, well, remember this, that Mason rhymes with racing. So I thought that was pretty good stuff. And the race gets entertaining. I'm going to talk about the race in a couple of seconds. And then next, Teddy and Ivy are going to try out. Teddy's trying out for Whammy. And Teddy's going to try out, but she's going to do bad on purpose. So the person that, I guess the coach, I don't really know what her name is, tells her that she used to be Whammy, and this would be the first time there'd be a second generation of Whammy, because Amy was Whammy before. And Teddy is supposed to do these challenges to, get accepted. She has to do well at them to become Whammy, pretty much. And she has to try to wow the crowd. And and she doesn't really do it that she doesn't really do it that well. She doesn't really wow the crowd. Ivy even says that I'm not feeling that. She has to dance, and Teddy purposely dances bad. I'm not really sure if it was on purpose because later on there's an episode that makes me question that. So I'm gonna talk about that when I get there. So yeah, there's an episode with that, and then she has to like wave the flag to get the crowd loud up, and she like waves the flag and throws it. I thought that was pretty funny. Since she did so bad though, she still ends up getting it because she was the only one that tried out. And Ivy even says, in hindsight, we should have noticed that nobody else was here. So Teddy ends up getting it. She's all upset about it. And then next, I believe, there was in the scene with PJ and Gabe. And PJ asked Gabe if he's starting to grow any bald spots. And Gabe says, I'm tempted to say yes, so yes. And then PJ's like, really? And he's like, no, your hair looks the same and stupid as always, or something like that. And then PJ says, thanks, you're a good brother. But he actually called her down there to help train Charlie for the baby race. And Gabe even says, I thought the baby race was going to be you and Emmett because now I've lost all interest. That was hilarious. That would be hilarious, too, if they had actually done that. Because it would just look hilarious to see AJ and Emmett having a baby race in diapers. I actually would have been all for that. I'm with Gabe on that one. I didn't lose interest, though, but I'm just with him. So then, next, they're training Charlie for the baby race. They go through this montage because they try to get her to crawl, but she's, like, not moving anywhere. So they do this montage of, like, Gabe's, like, the trainer, I guess, and he's doing jumping jacks, and PJ's, like, making her do jumping jacks like this. And then, PJ, they're watching, like, a film with a tiger, like, running. Like, she's supposed to be, like, fast as a tiger. And, then yeah. I thought that it was a pretty funny and entertaining montage, to hype you up for the race. And, then Teddy comes home and Amy finds out that she, got the, Whammy job. I don't really know what to do. She's Whammy pretty much. And, she found out because it's on the website, which I guess that was pretty fast because she found out literally in school, but I guess it wasn't that fast. And Teddy's like, well, there's not a picture of me on there, is there? And Amy says, I just sent one in. And Teddy's obviously going to be pretty embarrassed about that. Then Amy tells Teddy that she pulls out this old Whammy head that she had, like the mascot head from the suit. Now I thought like if I didn't think you got to keep that. Like I thought like this I would think you would have to give it back to the school. What, did you just steal this thing? I thought that was weird. And she puts it on, and Teddy even says it smells like armpit in here, and Amy's like, you get used to it. So they do some of her moves. They do some moves where they do the wiggle or something, and pretty much it's Amy Duncan twerked. That was pretty funny. And they try to do this thing where they do like a jump and they have to make like a W because that Whammy starts with the letter W, and Teddy doesn't really do it right. Amy even says, "You're not Hammy, you're not Bammy, you're Whammy." And then Teddy says that she doesn't want to do this. She doesn't really want to be Whammy, and Pitt gets pissed and storms off. And Amy gets upset about this, and she puts the Whammy head on and puts her head down, which looks like that Whammy was like charging, but that was pretty funny. And then the next scene, Bob asks what happened, and Teddy says, I just told her I didn't want to be Whammy. I just told her I didn't want to be Whammy. I was just being honest with her." And then Bob says, "Honest with her? What were you thinking?" That was a pretty funny line. And Teddy says that, look, maybe being Whammy was cool when you guys were kids. And then Bob says, "Oh, it was never cool. Your mom just didn't know that." And Teddy's like, "What, did she just wear that head around all the time?" And Bob says it was her yearbook picture. And Bob thinks that it's ridiculous that Teddy doesn't want to look stupid in front of the whole school, and she's gonna let the whole school and the mom down if she doesn't show up as Whammy. And Bob even says that it's gonna break your mom's heart if there is no Whammy at the school. And Teddy says, I just don't want to look stupid. And Bob says, well, sometimes the right decision can be the wrong decision. He's trying to do that speech. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but sometimes the right decision can be the wrong. He's trying to convince her, and it's not really working. So then Bob's like, oh, just please be Whammy. I thought that was pretty funny. And then, so then next, we see Whammy. So we think it's supposed to be Teddy. And some kids from North High, because they talked about this too, where some kids from North High like to take Whammies on like a joyride, which is like something that Whammy doesn't. I don't think Whams like, and they kidnap Whammy. It's like a school prank. North High does that, so whatever. But when they take off the head, it's actually Amy, and yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I thought that was kind of a nice surprise, I guess, because I thought Teddy wasn't going to end up doing it. I guess there's 2 Whammy outfits, too, by the way. They're going to find out what I mean. And trying to remember what I was going to say next. So, when one of the kids even says, wow, Whammy is old. And then Amy says, I ain't old. Whammy had 4 kids. So they kidnap Whammy, pretty much. I don't really remember what happens in this scene much else. So then Teddy and Ivy are looking for Amy, but she's not in the crowd, and Teddy's wearing the Whammy uniform, so they're just going to bail because that's the only reason she's doing this. But the coach, or whatever, like the person that gave her the Whammy position, the first Whammy, catches her, and she's like, the gym's this way. She's like, let me look at you. And Teddy thinks she's talking about her, and then she's like, not you, Whammy. And then Teddy puts the head on, and she says, oh, Teddy, you look just like your mother. And then they go, Teddy and Ivy go in there, and Ivy's just like, I got your back, T. And then Ivy just runs away. I thought that was pretty funny. And then back at the house, they do the baby race. And the baby race is, you know, Charlie and Mason. And Gabe is like the announcer. And I thought that was, he did a pretty good job with that role. And they start the race. They're crawling. Charlie is pretty much behind. Mason's pretty much ahead of Charlie like the whole time. And they're trying to, and Emmett and PJ are trying to lure them. Emmett uses like baby food, and Charlie and PJ uses Amy to try to lure them. And then eventually Charlie ends up standing up. She finally takes her first steps and wins the race. I thought that was pretty cool. But technically, if you think about it, Charlie should have lost because it was a baby. I know they said it was a baby race, but it was to see who the better crawler was. I think I guess they really didn't specify the rules, but I thought the rules were it was like a crawling race, like he was only supposed to crawl. So technically, Charlie should have just lost right there. That's technically like a disqualification. So I would, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. But then Gabe's acting like he's a sports interviewer, and he asks Mason what went on out there, and Emmett just says, we'll be back when we learn how to walk. And then back in the van, Teddy's in the van, and Teddy says, can you at least take, Teddy wants to leave pretty much, and Teddy says, I don't really care about this thing. What's the difference between North High and South High? And then the kids are like, well, North High rules. I feel like if this show was like for adults, they would have said North High rules, bitches. I totally feel like they would have said that by watching this episode. Maybe I'm the only one. So then Amy says that she has to go to take a piss, and one of the kids says, you can't hold it, and Amy says, I've had 4 kids, I pee when I sneeze, and then the guy's like, ew. I thought that was a funny line. And they stop the car, well, the van, and technically this should have been kidnapping, by the way. When the kids are coming out, Teddy kicks the kid, and he lands on the other kids, and then she drives off with the van. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then back at the school, PJ's there. I guess they drove there after the race. And PJ was looking at Bob's hair because he's afraid of his fate. And Bob says, looking at it's not going to prevent your baldness. He says, looking at my baldness isn't going to stop your baldness. And PJ's like, well, I can't believe that's going to happen to me. And Bob says, well, think about this. There's positives here. You're going to have a big baseball cap collection, and you're going to save a lot of money on shampoo. I guess you wouldn't shampoo, is what he's trying to tell me. But I guess maybe what he's saying is, like, you wouldn't have to shampoo as often because... But I would think you would still have to shampoo your scalp, like your head. So I didn't really get that. But he says, with the money you shave on shampoo, you can buy more baseball caps. That was a pretty good line there. And then Teddy comes out, and, well, Teddy comes out, and she's being Whammy, doing the Whammy stuff. And it happens again. The Viking ambushes her with the axe, hits her in the back of the knee. And then Amy walks in this time, and she puts the thing on, and she ends up, I guess, glowing, because I guess, or charging at the Viking. And then the two Whammies just beat the crap out of this Viking. And they do some backyard, like, professional wrestling moves. I don't know, I'm not just saying this because I'm a wrestling fan, because that's what it was. They did clotheslines. They did a move where one of the Whammies jumped off the other one and, like, took him out. I thought it was pretty cool stuff. And then they stand tall. And then back at the house, Teddy's making a video diary, talking about this situation, saying that we both took big footsteps, big milestones this week. You walked for the first time, and I end up trying something new and actually liking it. And then she's like, you better get used to it too, because you're on your way. And then Amy comes up, and Charlie's wearing like, you know, whammy jammies is what they called them. And then Teddy ends it off by saying, good luck, Charlie. I thought that was a pretty good line. And then they end off, they do like a little comedy scene at the end where Teddy's and PJ are late for school, and PJ comes out, but he actually looks like Bob. And he walks downstairs, and it's PJ, it's Bob's actually there, but it's PJ's voice. So PJ looks in the mirror and realizes that it's happened to him. And he's like, I'm not ready. And then he wakes up, it was all a dream. And Bob hands him the first baseball cap that his dad gave him. And then that was the end of the episode. This episode was actually really entertaining. I really enjoyed it. I like the whammy stuff. The baby race was really cool. I didn't really get the whole... I didn't really think they needed to add that whole baldness thing into it. I thought that was just kind of filler to kind of keep the episode. I didn't really think they needed to add to that. But there was really nothing you can do with it, because there just wasn't. So I didn't really think they needed that. But other than that, this actually was a pretty entertaining episode. So that's about it, guys. You can leave your thoughts and comments about what you thought of this Good Luck Charlie episodes in the comments down below. If you want to check out some other channels, my Wrestling Fortune 44 channel up there, my own The Talkinator channel down there. My friend James Hebert has 2 YouTube channels. One's called James Hebert's over here, and then over here is Whammy Through Wrestling. You can check out those channels, and you can click down below to subscribe to me to get more content on this channel. To check out more content on this channel that I'll be posting. And that's about it, guys. Talk to you later.